This is my village experience. I'm your host, Meissa Sarr. Welcome. Hello, villagers. This is the second part of the series Live, Learn, and Love. To learn, which is the theme of this part, is defined even in any dictionary. They quite have the same definition of the verb. And one of them is then to learn is to gain or acquire knowledge of or skill in something by study, experience, or being taught. So it shows you in a certain way that you are all these aspects, all these features of learning, gaining experience. It comes back to the study, I think, that we, like any human being, has had, which is, when you're a baby, you start crawling, and you see in a sense that everything we learn in life is like walking. It always starts with baby steps, and baby steps, before baby steps, it's crawling. So naturally you will try to, get up, lean on something and start to mess around the house. And from there you see that after you start to walk, you've had a certain experience of it. You can even start to run, and you see kids, they run around. They always run. They have this energy that in your mind, it's just insane, But they have that energy, and kids, they need to use that energy of their age, which running is a part of it, playing some games, And even you can teach them actually any number of languages that you want to teach them. Is that, I think there are some studies, you can Google it, that the kid, I think by the age of 3 to 7 or 8 years old, they can learn a lot of languages, and being able to manage it in a natural way. They just able to use the language and without mixing it with the other ones. And it shows that even their way, their perspective, again, that they have about life in general it's those different experiences in those different parts of their lives that they gained experience. And from that experience, what comes in my mind is the teachings, because in the definitions we have what you've been taught. So I think the teachings constitute one, which is by definition discipline. I think discipline is what all the teachings are about. At the end is one, which is discipline. And discipline by definition is, because for some people rather than others, it's not natural with them to be just naturally without malice. That's why most of us, we have a certain way of thinking about people, of how they would react to things, or like, are they here for me? A lot of, and I call it overthinking. What do we do upon reacting naturally to things? When you come into, from your perspective, either explain things or try to communicate what you mean, try to explain yourself or express your ideas, because no idea is little. Every single idea has a point. Well, the point can be good, it can be bad. That's where we're going to decide, or depending on how many votes on yes or no. And then we decide from there. That's when democracy comes into play. So part of the teachings after discipline would be to experience really life again. The success that you have and the failures that happen, because both of these two terms and what they represent, it's your perceptions of what is happening in your life. It is rather that you do know how your life is overall to, let's say, someone that has immediately less than you. Imagine it by yourself, because you can learn from both. Sometimes when you fail, how many people can tell you these type of anecdotes of, well, they had this failure, something really bad happened to them, at the end of the day, their whole life changed, you know. So when you are at that point of looking at life and sit back and look at it as how you would look at a painting, you would say, I should be thankful. And that's why when you become thankful and being aware, being mindful of all of this is happening in your life, you come with a mindset of being aware of your whole life as a painting, as a movie, even all these shows that we binge watch. So it is from there you feel more aware of what is going on around you. So when you define again, just say to yourself maybe that knowledge is only then when practiced. Even with shortcomings, you know, it works or it doesn't. But when you have knowledge, when you know something, and you think that it can be really beneficial not only to yourself, but to at least another person or much more person than you think, the knowledge we're looking for. Because to learn, you can learn from anything, you know. We have these bombs, you know. Bombs are not aimed at animals or stuff like that. No, they created in the mindset of aiming it to human beings somewhere in the world. And they're being created. And at the same time, there's some people that don't even have water. You know, water that probably most of you, because you have internet, you have all these tools around, you have TV. Those people don't even have internet. They don't even have sometimes electricity. So when you think and see that perspective of where you are, of how water is even simpler for you, this whole learning, this whole realization of life, of being aware, of being mindful of life, is that you gain or acquire knowledge and practice it and practice your skills. And it's through that experience, your whole life is laid. And that's when generally I tell myself, you basically need to listen more, you know. I don't know about you, but I think that all of us, we should just even a little bit try to listen more. Not only to listen more of yourself, but to listen more about the signs, about what is going on in your life, and listen more about like what they're saying. It is not to compare people's lives or compare what people have and stuff like that. No, it is to look at your life in a perspective of always learning, but learning from any lesson that you can get through this experience, which is called life. And so when you listen more, assess it, I think by the end you start to love more. Because when you listen more, you discover more. When you listen more, it is like you're always learning, you know? Yeah, listen more.
Thank you. Please share, subscribe, and review. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at MV3Universe. And until next time, never forget, you're as unique as the universe. Peace be with you.